I was set afire by some of the things I read from St. Eugene, his passion for the poor, his love of the church, his love of God, and the desire to have the good news understood by the people in their own language, and so that they could experience what he experienced in his life, you know, especially on that Good Friday experience where he had that revelation of the love that God had for him. And it was similar to something I'd experienced in my life that made me come back to the faith in the first place. This revelation that at the bottom of the whole of faith is the reality that we're loved by God with this unconditional love. Something that I came to through a meditation on the relationship that my folks had. I was at a point in my life where I was saying, where am I going? What is this all about? What does my life mean? And I thought of them instead of reflecting on that, and it led me to a reflection on love being the thing that would really give, ultimately, it's the only thing that really gives meaning to life for me. As a seminarian, I did my apostolic time in between the studies at the Centro Católico Hispano in Washington, D.C. I had tried to learn a little bit of Spanish, wasn't too successful at it, but then was sent to the Dominican Republic for a 2-month intensive experience. And I came away from that able to express myself a little bit. Didn't understand a whole lot, but I could do pretty well. And then working at the center helped me pick up a little bit more Spanish. At deacon ordination, I came to Lowell and worked from January of '84 until April of '85 when I was ordained here in Lowell at the Sacred Heart Parish. At ordination, I was given an assignment to Miami, where I almost needed no English. There were others in the parish that were attending to the English-speaking community. I would have occasional masses, but the vast majority of the work that I did there was with the Hispanic community. I can remember my first 3 months there, how I cried every night before I went to bed, because I could express myself, I could preach, I could say the Mass, but I didn't understand anything, or very little. You know, I understood the Dominicans a little bit, but there was a diverse group of Hispanics, from Nicaraguans and Cubans and Colombians, and everybody had a little different accent, a little different way of talking, so it was challenging. Heard lots of confessions. People knew I didn't understand, and they all lined up at my confessional. It was like a jubilee year for them. Father Bagan couldn't convince them to go into his line because they knew they were all going to get the same penance, whether they'd committed capital offenses or whatever it was. They knew it was an easy go. And in some way that goes along with, you know, de Mazenod's request that his men be liberal in their mercy as God is. We've received something, and hopefully we have, in our lives, in our prayer, in our community, in our own relationship with the Lord, to be able to receive the great gift of unconditional love, and to understand that it's not a gift that was given for me to put in my back pocket or to possess on my own, but I'm sent forth. You know, as the Father has sent me, so I send you to bring the good news of my love to others. And God's going to put the people in your path. He's going to put you on a path that leads you to the people He wants you to bring the message to. Sometimes that might mean that the provincial is going to say to you, as has happened to me every time I was up for an assignment, go here. No, I don't want to go there. I want to go here. No, you're not going to go there. You're going to go here, but I want to go there. You know, and you find out that when you end up there, it was you couldn't have imagined the blessings that would take place, and you're better off that it got decided for you. But in the end, God puts you where He's going to want you to be. And to realize that you're not there on your own. You're an emissary. And you're bringing a message of good news. So And it doesn't matter whether you're being explicit in your profession of the gospel, but that in whatever way your relationship, your whatever activity it is, whether that's working with a community development corporation, building houses, or whether it's with people in a neighborhood where you're trying to get better services, or you're trying to get, we had a big campaign here for a corporation that was mistreating its employees, and we were involved in organizing people to speak up against that. So in all these different settings, not just in an explicit ministerial setting, you're sent. You're a missionary.